So Benzino and Nicki Minaj coming out with diss tracks and shit.
Who cares at this point? Like, who cares? I don't listen. Benzino ain't drop a song ever in his life. There's no song that I like from him, so I can kill us. Eminem already killed him years ago.
I just want to clarify something.
Uh huh.
This Nicki Megan shit is not no rap beef. It's just jealousy.
Of course it is because Nicki was out at a time when she ain't had nobody to compete with. Now she got a whole bunch of bitches to compete with, but she don't know how to act.
And then her
You know what
fan
I mean?
base. The
And
fact
when she was out in the 2010s, there was no Cardi B, there was no Megan, there was no Doja Cat or Doshi, and now she got all these chicks to compete with. She don't like it. But if you're a true queen, that shit shouldn't bother you.
exactly.
So obviously she's not the true queen of rap like you think she is.
Oh well.
You know, Queen Latifah had to deal with Moni Love and MC Light and Yo Yo and everybody else that was out, Roxanne Shante, and she's still a queen to this day. So if you're a real queen, competition shouldn't bother you.
Mhm. That's just the hip hop culture right there.
Yeah, they're afraid of a little competition, but they want to deem themselves king and queen. It don't work like that.
Not today, boo boo. Bless you.
Thanks.
Shout out to Ashley. Keep your head up, girl.
Get well soon, actually. My condolences to her and her family.
Shout out to Mike too.
Mike, where you at? Where Mike at? Yo, he ain't mailed me that Blu-ray yet. Mike, where you at, bro?
He's been busy. He's just been managing and shit, you know. Happy birthday to Kaya yesterday.
All right.
A lot of January birthdays actually. I'm gonna start in about 8 more minutes.
Where BJ at? I told him not to miss this, and then he's gonna be complaining that we don't invite him to shit. Like, come on, bro. It's a new year. Not, you would think 97 he would want to be on this shit. You know what I'm saying? 97 was he's a Puff Daddy lover. You think you want to be here for this? The nigga not even around, and then he's gonna complain later. Oh, I don't get invited to shit. Y'all don't invite me.
I'm sending him an invite right now.
I hit him up since last week about it. I'm like, yo, we doing 97. I know you love 97, but that's all you talk about. You should be on here with us.
I just want to let y'all know right now. I haven't ate anything since 1 o'clock this today. So right after we do this list, I'm gonna make me something to eat. That's all I'm gonna say.
Do your thing, man.
Yeah, that's all I'm gonna. Plus, my show comes on tonight too. Yeah, yeah.
BJ
My
ain't
show,
showing up. He ain't showing up.
my show comes on tonight too, and I haven't
Yeah,
ate since 1 o'clock. So
he ain't showing up though. That's how you do.
I don't want to let y'all know right now. By the way, I'm making a schedule right now too. You're gonna love it. I'm back. Reviews coming back next week.
Well, you back on your shit? Okay. So we're not doing no stupid shit like Nelly reviews and all that.
Nah, we're gonna do some hard hitting reviews.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
You're gonna do some hard hitting reviews.
I really was not excited to do shit like Nelly.
I told you I was only gonna do the first 2 albums. That's it. We already did that.
Thank God.
You know that's your favorite rapper? But yeah, I'm coming back. I've been listening to a lot of dope music lately. A lot of new artists I've been bumping and shit like that too. Definitely gotta talk about Benny the Butcher's new album. Gotta talk about that. Got the Cosby Show retrospective this Saturday. Oh, try muted his mic. How you doing, Q? I'm doing good, bro.
My bad. I was posting up something.
Nah, you good. Like I said before, I was telling everybody and shit like that. I'm working on this schedule right now. I'm gonna come back doing reviews next week.
Uh-huh.
Got the Family Matters review the week after next, so yeah, I'm fucking with my schedules. Okay, I'm off Sunday. Oh, I can spend a night, mom. Oh, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yes. All right, I'm ready to start whenever you are.
Let's go.
What's up, YouTube? How's everyone doing? It's your boy Reg in the building. Got my homeboy Try with me.
What's goody?
And today we're gonna talk about our top hip hop albums from 1997. You know what I'm saying? 1997 being a dope year for hip hop and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very dope year. A lot of people want to say, "Oh, that was the era where the shiny suit era. It was too jiggy." Especially if people can expand their horizons, it was much more than all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of my favorite rap albums came that year.
Right.
You know, so without further ado, I'm gonna start off my list.
All right.
My number 10. This is an album not a lot of people talk about. You know what I'm saying? I kind of feel like it's a very, very, very underrated underground album that kind of paid homage to like the producer albums of that time too.
Mm-hmm.
Second is Frankie Cutlass with Politics and Bullshit.
Yeah.
Let me share the screen. Yeah, very, very, very dope album in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, for those who don't know who Frankie Cutlass is, pretty much he is a Puerto Rican producer, member of Funkmaster Flex's Flip Squad. You know what I'm saying? He dropped one album back in '93 called The Frankie Cutlass Show. I've never heard that joint, but then this joint came out like in 1997. It's kind of like a homage to like the vintage old school rap, you know, and we're not like it's pretty much like the '90s equivalent to Marty Marl's Symphony In Control Volume 1. And that's ironic too because they have Kane, Ms. Bismarck, E. Craig, Gina, Roxanne, and Shantae on Cypher Part 3, which is actually my favorite song on the album. when they're rapping over the same sample that Spice One used for "In My Neighborhood," that
Right.
George Temple. I love "Feel the Vibe" with Doo Wop, Helter Skelter, Rampage. You with June Lover, Redman, and Shout Out X was pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, this was a very, very, very dope album in my personal opinion. Very underrated album. Yeah, this is class. This is classic. Shit.
We starting with number 10.
Yes, sir.
All right, number 10. I got one of my favorites from '97, and he had one classic album, and the rest of his albums were crap, and he just retired after that. But his first album will always be classic. Mace Harlem World, great album. Love the production from D Dot and Jermaine Dupri. You know, Dame Grease was on that. Various different producers from the Hitmen. You know, we had joints like Feel So Good, and you had Looking at Me. You know, Tell Me What You Want. Cheat on You. You know, mad different collabs on there. 8 Ball and MJG. DMX, rest in peace. Busta Rhymes, Total. Um, Billy Lawrence. Just a phenomenal album. Like I always say, this will always be his best album. Don't like Double Up. Thought it was trash. Don't like the comeback album. Trash. But one of the best for '97.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you about that. Um, my number 9 is going to be the first of 3 double albums on this list. And this one is one of my personal favorites. This is one I don't hear. I hear people talk about this album,
Mm,
but at the same time, I feel like it kind of gets a little swept under the rug. It's my personal favorite album from this group, and it's Bone Thugs and Harmony, The Art of War.
nice.
This album came out July 29th of that year. Very, very, very great album. Very controversial album too.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because around this time, they were beefing with like a lot of rappers, and people like Twista and 3 6 Mafia and Do or Die, they were throwing shots at them because they felt like they stole their style, that whole fast rapping style. And plus, um, Bone Thugs made a comment in a Source magazine how they felt like they didn't care for a lot of Southern rappers and whatnot too. You know what I'm saying? And that got some beef with Tommy Wright the third. Also, too, the reason why this album was also controversial was because of the fact that Busy Bone did not like the way Tamika Wright, which was Easy E's widow, the late great Easy E, was running Ruthless Records. So
Mm,
there would be some times where he won't even be in music videos, he won't even appear on certain interviews and promotion and stuff like that too.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, but at the same time too, they put out a very dope album. Man, this whole album is like no filler whatsoever. Like I love It's Almost Thug. That's probably like my favorite song
It's my joint.
album. Well, that's my favorite joint on this one. My favorite joint on this two, I might have to go with either Hey Nation or Thug
Mm,
Love, Tupac. No. So I take that back. Hey Nation or Whom Die They Lie.
right.
I love Thug Love with two. That's my third favorite. Whom Die They Lie.
Fire.
Mo- like very, 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 very dope album. Like Handle the Vibe, Look Into My Eyes.
Right.
If I could teach the world to be a perfect harmony, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy too because we did say we were going to talk about their solo album, so
Mhm.
that might be some review coming up very soon. You know what I'm saying? Definitely going to start off with like the AB albums, each of them and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So that's dope. That's dope. Yeah, Q. I saw the unsung episode of Bone Thugs. That was a dope episode, by the way. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is actually my favorite Bone Thugs album. I love E1990 Eternal. Don't get me wrong.
Mm.
Like I said, I love that album, but I felt like they stepped their pen game and production game up with Art of War.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
Definitely. Crazy Bone was the MVP for that album.
I agree.
You know. All right, number 9 for me. This was a artist that she started out as a songwriter, gave many artists hits, and she didn't want to become an artist, and You know, she ended up getting some encouragement from Diddy to become an artist and became one of the best female rap artists ever. Missy Elliott, Super Duper Fly,
If
classic album, all beats done by Timberland when he was in his
Diddy
bag.
did
Huh?
if Diddy did one thing right, it was that.
Right. No, he did two things right. He signed Biggie. He did two things right. Let's give him his credit.
Diddy.
All produced by Timberland. You had the hit smashes, Beat Me 911, The Rain, Sock It To Me with the Brat. You know, you have Friendly Skies, you know, just a lot of album bangers on here. We did a review on this. I think it was like last year before last. Fireman
Yep,
Classic.
definitely. All right, my number 8. This is again another slept on album. I don't hear a lot of people mention when it comes to 1997 or even this artist's discography, because like they prefer the sophomore album and the fourth album, which I do love those albums.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? I do have my opinions on those. I'm done reviews on them, but this one right here might be possibly one of my top favorites, and it's Common with One Day It'll Make Sense. Sam, what's up, man? I haven't seen you up here in a minute. What's up?
Same way you been.
It's a family reunion. I got Sam Bacchus up in here. Okay.
And find Ronnie while you at it too.
Yeah, Ronnie, keep your head up, by the way.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, this Common One Day It'll Make Sense. You know, this is the second joint from Relativity. First being Frankie Cutlass, by the way. This joint album, this album came out September 30th of '97. You know, people like to say Resurrection, like Water for Chocolate, B, which B is my favorite album.
Right.
But I feel like Common has at least 3 underrated joints that I can consider his best 2. Well, let me say 2, because Fighting Forever, I love that album, but I'm not gonna put that on like with his classic stuff. I feel like
Right.
this album and Electric Circus are his most underrated albums. And
Right.
you said what?
Not good.
Because nobody talks about this album. This album, he was really on his boom bap shit with this one. Like his Resurrection, I like Resurrection. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not gonna hold. I feel like the album's just a bit overhyped. I used to love her. I love the title track. You know what I'm saying? Watermelon, very dope. But at the same time, he was still trying to find his style. Cause I didn't like his first album. I didn't like Cannibal Dollar because
Right.
he still has some of his first album isk in some tracks on there too. Like he would do that Das Effects rhyming, which I feel like it didn't really fit him. I feel like this was the album that he found himself really.
Right.
But people want to say like Water for Chocolate, which again I like that album too. I love the Soulquarians, you know what I'm saying. But this one got some heat. Let me tell you what's on this album. Retrospects for Life with Lauryn Hill. My City, All Night Long with Erykah Badu, which that's actually the first Soulquarian song, if you really want to be technical, because not only was the Erykah Badu feature, but it also had the Roots also produced that joint too. So let's keep it a buck with that one. This is where really the Soulquarian started. And one of the best trilogies in hip hop, Stolen Moments. Man, no, wasn't my Stolen Moment one of the best storytelling songs in hip hop, man? Come on now. The crazy thing about it is, before The Dreamer the Believer, which we talked about on our 2011 list, which I posted that last night, so y'all can go check that out too. You know what I'm saying? This is actually the last album No ID did for Common until The Dreamer and the Believer. And in my opinion, I feel like it's his best produced album with Common. I could be wrong. I mean, it's my opinion, but you know, I gotta be real. You know, I gotta call him out. But yeah, this is a very, very, very great album. Highly recommended. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is Common at his best.
Red, you must have read my mind because number 8 for me is Common.
Wow.
One Day Don't Make Sense. I don't know. It just happens like that with us.
Yeah.
Great album produced by No ID and Doug Infinite. I love it. You know, One Too Many. That was like one of my favorite joints on. I remember hearing that from Stretch Barbito.
Ooh.
When before the album came out. Stolen Moments. You know, Invocation with the Stevie Wonder sample. Love that track. Hungry. He just lyrically was sharp on this album. Like this was like right after Resurrection. It was like I became a fan of Common and highly underrated. I don't know why people don't mention this album with like Water for Chocolate or B. To me, he got 4 classics, and this is one of them.
I agree. I definitely agree with you on that. You know what I'm saying? Let me see too. Okay. My fault, I had to do some math in my head.
Right.
All right, my number 7. Now, this is an album that the rapper himself was not a big fan of because it was released during a turbulent period in his life. And personally, his fan base likes to kind of go with the bandwagon and try to trash this album in certain recent years. I'm kind of one of those that I have to be like, you know what, with all due respect, In My Lifetime Volume 1, it's a bang.
Definitely.
I respect Jay's opinion. I understand why he didn't really fuck with this album because this was around the time when Biggie died. But come on, this album, it's like, how can I put this? It's like if reasonable, it's like if Goodfellas was directed by Joel Schumacher, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, it's a weird comparison, but because when I think of Reasonable Doubt, I think Carlito's Way, I think Goodfellas. When I think In My Lifetime Volume 1, strangely enough, I think like Batman Returns. No, not Batman Forever. Excuse me. The good Joel Schumacher. You know, where it was fighting with the street, and it was fighting with the street raps and the polished raps. Not too, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like Jay kind of balances off well.
I agree.
2 songs I don't care for on this album, and I've always say this. I don't care for I Know What Girls Like with Puff and Kim. That was a joint. If that was on No Way Out, I might have tolerated it.
Better. It was for better. Yeah.
And I don't like Always Be My Sunshine with Babyface and Foxy. Like,
I love that song.
The video itself, if it wasn't for those 2 songs, I will put this album on the same level as Reasonable Doubt. You know, but let's talk about the good because there's a lot of good on this album. Like from the intro, A Million and One Questions, and Rhyme No More, where Primo, he used that 1 in a Million sample from Aaliyah and everything like that too. But then they flipped it to that Esther Phillips sample on the Rhyme No More, which you guys. A lot of rappers have used that track, have used that sample over the years and stuff like that too. I felt like Jay kind of used that the best.
Right.
You know I'm saying I feel like he did use that the best in my opinion. Imaginary Players, classic track, man. I mean, God, the Mace sub disc. Come on now, like damn Playboy with us. I was like, come on now, come on.
Mace got him back.
He did.
Yeah,
he did. On
the R&B track of that. It wasn't even a regular rap tune.
Right. But that's why he had to squash. They squashed that beat real good because Mace didn't want it with Jay. I'm sorry, he didn't want it with Jay.
I don't know. Mace. People underestimate him lyrically. He was dope.
Yeah, lyrically you good.
The whole image, the pretty boy image, is what fucked them up. Like they got confused with that, so they thinking, he pretty boy Mace, he can't spit, and that's that clearly wasn't him.
Yeah, like he's a lyricist. Don't get me wrong, but this is '97 Jay. This is before he was still hungry Jay. You know what I'm saying? Right. But my favorite track on this album is "You Must Love Me." Very deep song. You know what I'm saying? Well, I would put that on like this. Well, my second favorite because Imaginary Players. I kind of go back for Imaginary Players, but because back in them days, in them early Jay albums, he always used to end it off with like a very serious track and shit like that too. You know what I'm saying? Like Regrets was the best one of the lot. It was the best one of the lot in my opinion. And that's actually possibly my favorite. Yeah, that's actually my favorite Jay-Z song too, which we actually did a list about that. But you guys have to donate to the Patreon to watch that. You know what I'm saying? So Other than that, very, very great album from Jay.
Number 7 is the second solo album from Busta Rhymes, When Disaster Strikes. Classic,
Mm.
highly underrated. One of my favorites from Busta. He had like one of the biggest hits. Matter of fact, he had the biggest hit of '97. Besides the Benjamins, it was "Put Your Hands in My Eyes Could See." Hands down, one of his biggest hits ever. And you had joints like "Dangerous." You had "Body Rock." You know, "Turn It Up." Just the whole album was phenomenal. Collaborations. He had Erica Badu. He had Diddy. He had Mace. You know, he had the Flipmode Squad. Just a great album. The production was great. Always been one of my favorites.
Not mad about that. I like When Disaster Strikes. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like compared to The Coming and ELE 1,
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's a little filler for me compared to
You
those
crazy.
albums.
What? You wow.
I like it. Don't get me wrong. It's still a classic album, but it's an arguable classic to me. It's arguable classic.
Okay.
But yeah, but that was like his breakthrough album too, because with the coming out, I think he said with the coming, he felt he wasn't like really confident enough to really drop an album at that time and shit. So
Right.
now we got to get real underground with this one right here. This album, one of the best underground hip hop albums of all time, very influential in my opinion. I feel like this album was released. If this was released like in the 2000s or 2010s, it would probably people would probably recognize it a bit more. But
Mm.
its company flow was Funk Crushers Plus. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Man, the first album that came out of Ruckus, too. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people know that. Company flow. You guys should know. It consists of members LP, Big Just, and Mr. Len. Very, very, very dope album. This album has some of LP's best beats because he did the majority of the album.
Right.
Shit. I love songs like Blind, Population Control was dope. Len Corsism, Bad Touch Example was very great too. You know what I'm saying? I need to get a copy of this album, but it's very hard to come by. You know what I'm saying? Very expensive too. So yeah, man. Very, very, very great album. Must have in your collection. We need to do a review on this one.
For sure.
Yeah,
Number
Sam, way better.
6.
I'm sorry, I'll say way better than Run the
Yeah,
Jewels. Yeah.
definitely, for sure. Number 6, another sophomore album from this artist, highly underrated OC with Jewels. Classic album right here. Production by Primo and Showbiz, Finesse, DJ Augie. Love this album. Far From Yours was the first single with Yvette Michelle. You had War Games with Organized Confusion. Um, It's My World, produced by Primo. Love that joint. Strong J. The title track, just phenomenal. Just one of the best boom bap albums ever.
Well, that's actually my number 5 too.
Okay.
OC Jewels. Very, very, very great album. I was just bumping this album this past Saturday. And yeah, it aged like fine wine. Some of the most smoothest, chillest production you would ever hear in any hip hop at that time too. Like this definitely had that summertime kind of feel to it. You know what I'm saying? Like Word Life had like a autumn feel. This was more like a summertime. And I go back and forth which album I like more because Word Life definitely was more on the braggadocio tip. I feel like with this one, well, no, I take that back. Word Life was more on a conceptual tip. This one was more braggadocio. It's you still have your conceptual songs here. You still had your conceptual
Right.
songs, but it was still braggadocio. It was still like a little braggadocio here and there. And yeah, man, like a lot of fans, they go back and forth to say which one's the best one and whatnot. So I love songs like Dangerous. No, wait. Nah, I take that back. That one, nah, I can't. I didn't like the beat for that one. I like lyrically, I liked it with him.
You didn't like the beat for Dangerous?
Nah.
What the fuck?
I
Who's registering tonight? Bro?
didn't like that beat.
Big Guy kill that joint. You crazy?
They did kill it. But I'm just like, I didn't like it. If it was like on like Jay-Z's In My Lifetime Volume 1, then yeah, I would have let it slide there. But it didn't fit the album. But I love songs like Can't Go Wrong with DJ OG. Like that joint right there is classic. The Chosen One, my favorite joint on the album. All From Yours, Strong J, You and Yours. I mean,
Definitely.
dog, like this whole fucking album, mine is Dangerous was stellar, very, very, very stellar. I know a lot of fans love Dangerous. But yeah, I just never liked that beat, to be real. But this right here, classic album.
Number 5, you know, I thought really long and hard about putting this album on the list, and I said it has to be on the list because it was a big year for him, and you know,
I already know which one you talking about.
what type of hip hop head would I be if I didn't mention this man? Even though I think he's a piece of shit and I can't stand him anymore. But No Way Out definitely has to be on this list for '97. It was huge. The hits from this album was huge. The features from this album was huge. You know, but it's a classic for me because of the features and the production, not because of who was rapping on it, the main person, but the features having Biggie, rest in peace, you know, Twista, The Lox, Foxy, and Kim on the same album, Jay-Z on the same album with Big, you know, Mace, the whole family, you know, the Hitmen, so many bangers, man. Victory, Benjamins, of course, that's like a hip hop classic record. You know, Been Around the World, Senorita, Young G's, every track on here was huge. You know what I'm saying? This was his year, and you know, he accomplished a lot in 1 year. So big BJ, I know he ain't in here. If you watching, I got No Way Out on my list. You ain't gotta bug me about it. This is probably the only time you'll see me even talk about this album. But that's my number 5.
Yes. So not my number 4 is Capone and Noriega with the War Report. No, ooh. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Yeah, this was a very, very, very dope album from them. You know what I'm saying? This album to me, I felt like technically, if you want to be technical, you can pretty much say it was Noriega and Tragedy because Capone was in prison when he was pretty much doing this. He did a few songs here and there, but it was mostly just Noriega and Tragedy holding it down. Right. You know what I'm saying? Tragedy was like the unsung hero of this album.
Oh yeah.
If you ask me. Sure. But yeah, this one right here is very, very, very. It's a masterpiece. Even the album cover alone is ill as fuck with the red sky and them dressed like an army gear and everything like that. So, I mean, come on now. I mean, this was known for songs like Bloody Money, Driver's Seat, Iraq See the World, Top of New York, you know what I'm saying? LA. Yes, LA, Kuwait mixed. Ooh.
LA, big cities and dreams.
Everything in LA ain't always what it seems. Capone Bone.
Yes.
Like I said, then they have this song called Thug Paradise, which even Noriega said he didn't fuck with it because that was like them trying to do like the whole shiny suit era ordeal.
That was fire though. You like that? You said a lot of crazy shit tonight already. Bro.
I like it compared to Dangerous from OC. Because that one is going. I was going to say when I first heard it, I didn't like it, but then over the years, I'm just like, okay, I can fuck with this. You know what I'm saying?
Tragedy killed that joint. Come on, man. That shit was fire.
Definitely. But other than that, I've done 2 reviews on this album. and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So y'all should know how I feel about this. This is a classic.
Number 4 for me, one of my favorite double albums all time is top 5 for me. Bone Thugs and Harmony, The Art of War. We did an album review for this on my channel, and it was my first 1K view. Picture that. Talking about a Midwest album, and I get 1K for that. Any other review, they sleep on it. But Bone Thugs and Harmony, Art of War, a classic double album. DJ Unique on the beats. Like I said, Crazy Bone to me was the MVP of this album. When you hear joints like Hard Times and It's All Real, Busy Bone to me killed it on You Ain't Bone. Love that joint. Thug Love with Pac. It's all Mo Thug. Like, the whole album is fire. There's no skips on this album. You're playing yourself if you think otherwise. 5 my classic.
Definitely. All right. My number 3. This is the album again. If we want, like 97, when people want to talk about the whole Shiny Suit era and stuff like that, the underground, if you want to call this album underground, was like putting out heat after heat after heat. And he put out a very great first album, which is one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time. You know what I'm saying? But this album to me is definitely lyrically might be his best album, and it's Diamond D with Hatred, Passion, and Infidelity. Yes. I got the vinyl of this, y'all. You know what I'm saying? I had to get the vinyl. This one came out August 26th. So, story goes, he was pretty much going through label issues, like a creative control with the label Mercury at the time, because this album was supposed to have came out earlier than it actually came out.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much what ended up happening. Well, actually, hold on, wait a minute. Yeah, okay. So what pretty much ended up happening was the fact that, and after the release of this album, he was pretty much like dropped from Mercury Records and stuff like that too. I think it was just like a legal bat. I don't really, because he changed his name from Diamond D to Diamond for this album. So yeah, I have to read up more about the legal issues and stuff. I know I done a review on this years ago, and stuff like that too. But I've done so much shit. I gotta refresh my memory and stuff like that too. What's up, Kavase? How you doing? But other than that, very great album. MC is My Ambition is fire track. My favorite track is Never with Sadat X and K. Terrible. 5 Fingers of Death was very good too. This one with Busta Rhymes. You know what I'm saying? This one, right, motherfucker. Again, another Busta feature where you should have had a verse, but just add that to the list. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, this one right here is very, very ill. This is a classic album. Like nothing. I love Stunts Blunts. Don't get me wrong. I feel like this is just as good as Stunts Blunts.
I agree. Number 3, like you mentioned this album before, CNN, The War Report, 5 my classic, their best album still. Love the production, the songs, Driver's Seat, TONY, Stick You, Illegal Life, Parole Violators, and shout out to Nori for holding this album down when his partner was locked up, and shout out to Tragedy for having his whole imprint is all over this album. Not that many groups would have survived on their first album, and one member is locked up, and Nori held it down, and he took that momentum into his own solo album, NORE. This was definitely a classic album, and I wish they don't have another album on this level. Like, I love the sophomore one, but it's not the War Report. You know what I'm saying? War Report is a game changer. And this was just great.
Definitely. All right. My number 2, a lot of people might consider this their number 1 if you go to like a lot of these hip hop albums from 1997 lists. Mm-hmm. And I do respect it, but there's one album I kind of have to put over this one. And my number 2 is Biggie with Life After Death.
Okay.
Yes, the infamous
You're reading my
album.
mind right now. I don't know what's going on here, but you know what I mean?
Yes, one of the greatest rap albums of all time. Is it as good as Ready to Die?
Yes, it
In
is.
some aspects, yes. But
Don't don't say no. Don't say no crazy shit like it's not.
I'm not. I'm just saying. To me, they're both 5 mic classics. Don't get me wrong, but Ready to Die to me it just had. To me, I was bumping Ready to Die a bit more. I'm gonna be real with you. Like that was just the most influential one. But this album to me is him just coming artistically. This is his best album. Like lyrically, Ready to Die, that's his best album. But just the shit he was doing on this album, you have songs like, Somebody's Got to Die. You know what I'm saying? Very, very ill track. Last Day with the Locks was very good, great too. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy too because the original that for that beat, Havoc actually lost that shit. So
Right.
he actually had to remake that beat. That's
Yeah,
the
they make
crazy
it. Yeah.
Kicking the Door. Classic disc record right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Fucking A at Nas, Raekwon, Ghost, Jeru. And if you want to talk about diss tracks, whether people want to agree with me or not, Long Kiss Goodnight. I mean, that was
Yeah.
heavy as fuck too. But then the Biggie fan base talking, oh no, he wasn't dissing Park on that album. I was like,
So
come
they
on,
was. So they was. We know they
yeah,
was.
come on now, come on, stop capping. Sky's the limit with 112, which I call the sequel of Juicy. In my personal opinion, that's the sequel of Juicy. In my opinion,
Right.
um, I'm gonna mention one more track. One more track. My favorite track, "You're Nobody Till Somebody Kills You." You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Very, very, very dope track indeed. A little story with this album though. I never told y'all.
Hmm.
I actually got the clean version of this album when I first bought it, and
Hmm.
that was actually the first hip hop album I bought with my own money.
Really?
But once I got this version, I quickly
Uh-huh.
gave the clean version away because
Smart
and,
man.
I, and I, the clean version they took off half the album.
Wow.
You know what I'm
That's crazy.
saying? Yeah, so that means songs like Long Kiss Goodnight wasn't on there. My Downfall, The World Is Filled. Um, Somebody's Got to Die wasn't even on there, which I was like, yeah.
Wow.
Which I hated that they did that shit because
Hmm.
even when All Eyes on Me came out with cause I have the clean version of All Eyes on Me because
Right.
my aunt from California,
Uh-huh.
she bought that for me too. Shout out to my aunt, by the way. You know what I'm saying? I'm still gonna cherish that because my aunt gave it to me. But
Right.
even that had all the motherfucking songs there. Like
Right.
I was like, that's fucked up. Come on now.
Man.
What was Biggie just cussing too much on that you didn't want to put on a clean version? Come on.
It was the dark undertones of death. They didn't like that.
Wow. But this album is called Life After Death.
Hey,
Okay. All
I
right.
don't know.
All right. Never mind.
You know.
Yeah, that's my number two.
Well, number two is Life After Death. I love it. It's a continuation from Ready to Die. I love the sequencing and just having, Biggie try to off himself on suicidal thoughts at the end of Ready to Die, and then
Yo, Pig.
yeah, and then we start off with the whole introduction, and this was like a movie on wax. You know what I'm saying? And the producers on here, RZA and KG, the Hitman, Primo, bro, like this was an epic masterpiece, man. So many stories that go behind different tracks. Like we did a review about that little series Angie Martinez had last year when she's talking to what's his name? Um like she talked to Little C's. She talked to I forgot the producer. One of the
Clark,
produ- the
Clark Kent.
producer Clark Kent. Nah, it was another one. The one that did Who Shot You. She talked to him. Um it was just different people I was close to Big, and that was a part of this album. And we knew back then what it was. We knew that, like, even from '95, we knew about this album. Like, remember, this album was supposed to be a single album. It wasn't going
Right.
to be a double album. If it wasn't for that car accident that Little C's had with Biggie and Charlie in the car, and he didn't have anything else to do in the hospital. And even Charlie Baltimore said that, like, when they would go to the hospital, he was writing on, you know, the loose leaf, like the legal pad or whatever. He was writing out the second disc. So really, we got to thank Little C's for that car accident, because if it wasn't for him, this wouldn't be a double album right now. You know, and they had a planned trilogy. It was supposed to be Ready to Die, Life After Death, and the last part would be Born Again. Not the Born Again that shit that came out after he died. Like, he was planning a real Born Again album,
Right.
but he left us with two classics. A lot of motherfuckers out that's out now that don't got one classic. He left us with two. You know what I'm saying? And this was just an epic album. You know what I'm saying? I love it. You know, it could be easily number one. 97 was a competitive year for a lot of artists. A lot of great albums that didn't make the top 10, but this is definitely top three for me, double albums all time.
That's very dope. That's very dope shit what you just said. So my number one, this is the other double disc on this album, and you know what I'm saying. I had to make this my number one is hold on, Wu Tang with Wu Tang Forever. This album came out June 3rd of that year. Now I know what y'all are thinking. Wow, that's your number one.
Who
But
cares what they think? It's our
let me
list.
let me explain. This might be my favorite double disc album in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I kind of go back and forth with a few albums though, but this one is the most well-rounded album. I recently re-listened to this album when I was on my way to Virginia. When I was on my way to Virginia like months ago, and it just dawned on me how much well aged it has become, and how the production was just so ahead of its time for 1997. Let's talk about the production for a minute. How they were pretty much this was really the first time, and I hate this term, the whole chipmunk soul. With the sped up soul samples and everything like that too. Especially on shit like Cash Through Rules. You know what I'm saying? What's that one track like the city? Very 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 dope songs.
Right.
United. Oh my god, that was very ill.
Crazy.
I love Visions. You know, hell, let's talk about how in the intro to the second disc, they were throwing shots at Bad Boy and No Limit and stuff like that too. Let's talk about that.
But
What
but you got RZA producing a joint on Life After Death. So
Base, you think this album's overrated? Y'all talk about my hot takes. Hold up, man.
both of you all hot takes are just crazy. Like,
Yo, and honestly, I kind of feel like this is kind of underrated compared to
no, I
36
don't think it's
Chambers.
underrated at all. No,
I said compared to 36 Chambers.
I don't think it's underrated. I don't think it's overrated. I think it's right where it should be.
Shit. But this is, I mean, I respect your opinion. Don't get, I respect your opinion, but yeah, Triumph, the one of the best Wu songs, expected that kill that verse in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? MGM, very great song too. So this album to me, it's a must-have for any hip hop head. Don't just buy 36 Chambers in the first wave of the solo albums. Nah, gotta get them all and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So Wu Tang Forever.
Number one, best double album for me all time. The production, I think RZA stepped it up on the production. It was the sound was a little bit unpolished. Well, not unpolished, but a little bit glossy compared to the first album, where it was real rugged and dirty. And I think by RZA using live instruments had something to do with that, but it was great. And I felt like having a double album for that clan for so many members, it gave room for everyone to shine. Not just when you listen to N36 Chambers and people got their favorites, Method Man or ODB or Ghost Ray. This album, everybody got to shine. And we even did a video where I said You God was the most underrated on this album. He was the MVP of this album because when 36 Chambers came out, he was in prison. And he came back home and he did his thing on this album. There's a lot of great tracks that he was on. Bells of War, Black Shampoo is fire. I don't know why people hate that song. That to me was phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? His verse on Triumph, every track he was on, he killed it. You know what I'm saying? And I love it. Older Gods, It's Yours, the Projects, MGM, every track on here was fire. Every track, no skips. You know what I'm saying? And they, props to them, man. Like they went out, rented I think they rented a mansion they were filming porn at that mansion at that time or whatever. And they just got to work. They did their thing, and this is why it's a great double album. You know what I'm saying? Everybody came correct. ODB, rest in peace, did his thing on here. They got Inspector Deck got one of the most, if not the most iconic openers on Triumph. Everybody knows his verse. It's been on mugs. It's been on T-shirts. You don't see that too much for a opening verse on the track, and Deck definitely got that. You know what I'm saying? So, Wu-Tang Forever.
Very great album. All right. I have a few honorable mentions I want to give out and everything like that too. Starting off, my first honorable mention, I have to go with EPMD with Back in Business.
Nice.
Definitely a very, very, very great comeback album from EPMD. Do I feel like it's like one of the best? Honestly, I feel like it's not one of the best, but that does not mean it's a failure itself because it was a nice return to form. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very great album. I love it. Then I gotta go with Puff Daddy and the Family with No Way Out. I mean, Try, you already took the words out of my mouth with that one. That's a very, very, very great album. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily better than Life After Death or even Harlem World, but you know what I'm saying? It was just Bad Boy at its peak form, so I'll give it to them. Then I gotta go with Scarface with The Untouchable. If you guys have known me, you guys would know that when this album, when I first heard it, it was not really one of my favorites because I was not used to that more melodic production from Scarface.
Right.
But over the years, I've came to appreciate the album. I do feel like it's one of his best albums in my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very great album. And my last honorable mention, let me think on this one. Last honorable mention. This is gonna be surprise a lot of people. I'm not gonna hold this. Gonna surprise a lot of people, but I gotta go with Master P with Ghetto D. Gotta go with Master P. Just not my favorite Master P album. You know what I'm saying? But he did pretty much laid the foundation for No Limit. And that was pretty much No Limit getting into its commercial breakthrough. So a lot of dope albums came from '97, but I have to pick all of them.
All right, I got Camp Low, Uptown Saturday Night, classic album. Big hits, Lucchini, Cooley High. I love Sparkle, Black Connection. Just a great album. Shout out to John Dixon. I know he's sending me that in the mail. That was great. CRU, the Dirty 30. Love this album. You had the hits, Pronto, Just Another Case, Bubbling, Chatty O and Yogi. Yogi was also a producer on Bad Boy as well. He did stuff with the Hitmen. Just a great album. I got Rakim, 18th Letter. To me, still his best solo album. Great album. The Saga Begins is my joint. Pete Rock. The it was just a phenomenal album from Rakim. We was waiting for so long. We waited like from 92 to like 97 for a damn solo album from Rakim. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What was the holdup? We kept hearing about Rakim is dropping, Rakim is dropping. And we was like, yo, when he dropping? You know what I'm saying? We read shit in the Source magazine back then. Oh, he's coming. We didn't know when he was dropping. And he finally dropped. And he gave us a classic. John Dixon Salute.
What's up, John?
I got Jay-Z, Volume 1, his most underrated album. You know, like you said, like this, and he had a mini movie. The Streets is Watching.
Yes.
You ever seen The Streets is Watching, Trent? All those videos are from this album. You know, Imaginary Player, Face Off, Friend or Foe. You know what I'm saying? Like classic. He even the joint with Puffy and Little Kim. It's not something that I play all the time, but it's not like something that, you know, on the rainy day I can play. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that like, yo, like this is totally whack. But you know, I don't know why, you know, people giving flack about the Sunshine video, and I thought Sunshine was banging. And Babyface don't do joints. You don't do rap joints with him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you could get Babyface on your album, that was a major thing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, you could count on one hand how many rap albums Babyface is on. It's not a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
This was definitely a solid album. I love the mini movie that went with it, and you know, there's so many others. Beatnuts, Stone Crazy, that was fire. Scarface, Untouchable, great album. You know, the Killer Army album, was great. There's a lot of great albums that came out in '97. You know, if we did like a top 20, those albums would have been on my list.
Understandable. But yeah, man, that's a very dope list you've done. You know what I'm saying? Very, very, very dope list. All right, y'all, I'm gonna end this off right here because, like I said before, I might to make me something to eat because I am hungry. But so I try to schedule, which I'm not gonna announce the schedule till Saturday after the whole Cosby Show retrospective. You know what I'm saying? So, but I have an announcement I was gonna quickly make. I'm not gonna do the artist on Sunday. I'm actually gonna do it on Monday and stuff like that too. So spoiler alert, I do have a review Sunday and Monday planned out and shit. You know what I'm saying? Also, Cosby Show retrospective is gonna be 6 o'clock on Saturday. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, what I might do is I might just dedicate 1 minute for everyone just to make their Cosby jokes. I know people are gonna say some shit. Not making a joke out of something as serious as that.
That's a classic show. So finally, we talking about a show that I love, not shit like Taxi. You know what I'm saying? So you know that's gonna be fun.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a dope show. Also got some goodies coming up soon on this YouTube channel. So I got some shit I have to work on a lot this weekend. You know what I'm saying? But what do you think of the schedule so far?
It's good.
I appreciate it. Anything else to say before I head out?
I can't, not at this time. I can't remember, but you know, shout
No
out
doubt.
to Bates and John Dixon and all y'all that showed up.
Yes, sir. Yeah, shout out to the real ones. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, hope you guys have a very good night. Appreciate this as always, and I'll see y'all. Peace.
Peace.